I always feel like I'm fighting against time in Stardew Valley, and most of the time I think it goes by too fast, but in this case I wanted to see if speeding it up would change things in any kind of major way. So I went ahead and just grabbed a Timespeed mod and made time go by 7 times faster. So instead of each 10-minute tick taking 7 seconds, it just takes 1 second now. And with that in mind, I set out on a goal to complete the community center in 100 days. I hope. If not, I don't know, we'll see. I think things will go pretty good though. I will be using animation canceling as well as a cosmetic mod, but nothing else as far as mods go. And right off the bat, things are going surprisingly fast already. I know it's 1 second, so I expect it to be quick, but once you actually start watching the time, and it gets the goal seems a little bit harder, let's say. But I think we're going to start out pretty normal and just get these parsnips in the ground, try to meet a few people, and chop down some trees. Nothing too wild, but I wanted to leave this first day in full, just so you can sort of see the extent of how quickly the time is going to go. I think the average Stardew day usually takes around 20-25 minutes or so, depending on pausing and things like that. But in this instance, we're looking at closer to about 2.5 minutes for a full day, which is surprisingly fast. I don't know, I shouldn't be surprised. It's the thing I did, but it might make things a little harder than I thought. Our biggest challenge is probably going to be money, because a lot of the days we're not going to have enough time to do much more than even water our crops, really. So we'll have to kind of figure out how we can do that. And I'm hoping we can actually make it to Clint's shop on time, or Pierre's. I think we'll be okay on Pierre's at least. Clint might be a little harder to deal with, and the mines might be a little bit of a challenge, to say the least. We don't really need to do anything in the mines aside from a fire quartz for the most part, and maybe a couple other little things. As far as like deep mines dives go, that's only floor 80, so early strat I have is basically try and get as far as I can in the mines once they open up, and like I'm hoping for maybe 10 floors a day, something around there. But yeah, I mean we're pretty much wrapped up with our first day, and we got a pretty small amount done. I would say a little bit more than 7 times less than we usually do. And I also will note real quick, I am playing on the controller as well, so you'll notice some of my movements are a little bizarre compared to some other folks who play with a keyboard. So first things first, I ran out to Pierre's today, grabbed the seeds I need, and started trying to meet a couple of the villagers. I do still want to complete that quest and get the little gold payout for it. So I'll meet everybody I can, but one side effect of this mod is everybody's schedules get really messed up. And that's because like they get triggered to do different things at different times. So once they start leaving for something at 6 a.m., they don't speed up and time is just going fast. So their schedules get really, really bonkers really fast. And so it's going to be hard to figure out where people are because they're never where they're supposed to be. And I'm hoping that doesn't mess up a whole lot of vendor interaction. Because I think Pierre at least starts out at his counter. And I think Clint basically stays in his house all the time during working hours. So those are two okay circumstances. We don't have to worry about those. So day 3 is raining. Normally I would do a lot of fishing today, but that's not really an option. Fishing is going to be another challenge because nothing about fishing is sped up. The bite rate won't be sped up. So it might take, 3 hours to catch a single fish. And so I may go for as many of the spring fish as I can, maybe a catfish, but that seems like I'm chancing it a little bit. And I also missed the cutoff for getting Willie to give me a fishing rod by a pretty massive amount. So we can at least grab a pretty heavy amount of forage from the beach, which puts us in a good spot for our crab pot bundle. And I think that'll be our easiest bundle when it comes to the fish tank. The bundles I'm most worried about are the bulletin board, because as usual, there's a lot of challenging items to get there. And I guess the fishing bundle, because fishing takes a long time. Everything else I think will be pretty easy. And I'll also be relying a lot on, oh good, a crow. I'll be relying a lot on skill ups to save me from exhaustion. Just because the time moves by so fast, I'll probably be passing out almost all the time. And the more and more days in a row you pass out, the lower your energy gets, to the point where you'll be waking up with literally 1 energy, and anything you do will completely exhaust you. And I kind of don't want to get trapped in that sort of situation. But we at least got 1 successful harvest so far, so we can start buying a few more crops and trying to get a little extra money rolling in. It's really going to be like a farming focused run. And we also got the fishing rod, so we can do a little bit of fishing. All I need is a sardine from down here, and we'll be in good shape. And I'm not worried about that at all. It's just the catfish, things like the eel, which are hard to get because it's like a nighttime raining fish. And yeah, like right now, I underestimated the time it would take to plant some potatoes, so my farm's already off to a little bit of a rocky start. But this is probably the closest I will ever get to doing any sort of speed-focused run. I am no speedrunner by any means, and this felt like the stress of a speedrun, trying to dash around to do everything you possibly can just to get one little goal done. And the other fish I really need is a largemouth bass, which usually isn't too hard to catch, but they only spawn until 7 p.m. And since I can only catch about 3 fish a day, that has become a bit of a challenge too. So I just have to hope I get lucky, and a largemouth bass is one of those. But luckily those are year-round. And what I've also found out is it takes me about 6 hours to get from the farm to Clint's. So if I need to go to the blacksmith, I have to go on a rainy day or any kind of day that I don't have to do any farm chores. Otherwise, I just won't make it in time. And so this is our first day into the mines. And it is going relatively well, I would say. It's pretty quick. But even with today being a best luck day, we are really only able to get down a few floors. And time is just absolutely destroying us. It is rough. And all I can really do is push as hard as I can to get down and then pass out. Try to keep my money at as close to 0 as I can and hope I end up on a nice 5 or 0 floor. But again, I'm just hoping for the best. And so we finally got the community center rolling. We at least have the stone activated. And then we just have to go meet the wizard. And we should be in good shape to complete at least the spring crops relatively soon and the spring forage. And then we'll just keep planting kind of random varieties of crops just to keep a little bit of money rolling in. We do need that 42,000 gold for the vault bundle. Even though I don't know if it's even possible to go to the desert, there's a pretty good chance that with the way the schedules work out, Pam will never get to the bus on time. So it's very, very possible that we'll never even be able to go into the skull caverns, which I'm okay with that. It's been I've spent a lot of time in the caverns lately, let's say, so I wouldn't mind missing out. We did have about $2,900 to buy strawberries with, so naturally I did that, and I wanted a hat, so I did the egg hunt, which I won, of course, and ran out of time to plant strawberries because just how it goes. I don't know, like, even though things have been going like really fast, I still feel like things are going okay at this point. Like, even though the strawberries, I couldn't water them all in one day, but I'll still be able to get 2 harvests out of them, so that's kind of nice. And we finally finished a bundle, so that's also nice. And I think we can knock out almost 3 bundles today, which is cool. Yeah, I don't know, we just need a crab. And a crab should be pretty easy to get from the mines. And then we can get some crab pots, and that'll be maybe a little extra money coming in. I think, so the mine carts would be one of the best things to get early on. And at this point, I don't know how doable that's going to be. And that's largely because of our terrible progress. I think we're down, 10 floors. We need to get to at least 81 in order to get a void essence and a fire quartz, unless we manage to get one from the cart. We did end up getting a catfish though, which is kind of nice, or at least hooking one. It's kind of hard to fish catfish up when you're so low level in fishing, but we got lucky and we got a pretty easy patterned one, so check that off the list of hard fishing stuff to do. I also went dog this route, which is really rare for me. I usually always get a cat, but I thought a dog might be a little bit of a change of pace, so we got a dog. I don't know if we'll see him too much because of time. I don't know how that will affect the animal, but... And then I ended up getting a backpack. And that was actually like, I didn't plan on getting a backpack, but I accidentally had like $2,000 in my pocket. And I knew I would pass out in the mines. So I kind of had to spend it, or I knew I would lose like $200. So why not just get an upgrade? It'll make my life a little bit easier. And then we just narrowly missed floor 20. Well, not narrowly, it was by 3 floors, but not great. But yeah, most of our days are pretty peaceful. Even though they move quickly, a lot of our time is just kind of spent harvesting crops, watering crops, and even though it feels kind of rushed, it is generally a pretty peaceful run, I would say. Even like the chores aren't too bad. I never have to worry about food. That is one plus. Like, I don't have to worry about bringing food to the mines because by the time I need energy, I'm already passed out, so it's really not bad. I did fail again to get to floor 20, which is not ideal, but I think, yeah, I failed again. So 3 times now we've wasted some time in the mines, so not ideal, but that's okay. The strawberry money will keep us happy for the most part. And then yeah, this is strangely enough, this is probably the most challenging run I've done, even compared to trying to get perfection in 1 year, or the second year, a single year I guess, or trying to min-max 40 million in 1 year. This felt way harder because it was very unforgiving and there's almost no great way to like truly plan everything out, so to speak. As you can plan as much as you want, but you have 2.5 minutes to make sure that plan goes really well. And I should also note, I chose to not reset at all in this run. I thought it'd be more fun if everything was a single try, so I wouldn't reset any days to try and get a better outcome, except for when I was trying to get golden quality harvests of crops, which you'll probably see me do in a little bit later here. And that's just because it's a pretty minuscule effect. I just have to pull my crops, see which ones are gold, reset, and then harvest whichever ones were gold and wait for the next day to harvest them again. So you'll see me like magically know which crops to harvest, but it's just because I reset. And I did a little baby CC drop off today, and didn't really complete anything major, but got a little bit of progress done. I keep trying to fish up a sunfish, and I fail just about every time, so a little bit discouraged when it comes to our fishing bundle. And we did end up upgrading our copper axe by the end of spring, and that's just so we can get the hardwood, and we can complete the construction bundle and get a little bit closer to guaranteeing our pantry, I believe it is, community center. So once summer hits, I mean, we're kind of looking at a rough situation still. We don't have the resources to make sprinklers yet, so we're going to be doing a lot of hand watering. So I don't want to go too crazy with the amount of crops, but I need a lot of money, so it's kind of a fine balance. And doing a little bit of math could have saved me a lot of heartache here, but I just kind of winged it. 40 blueberries seems like a lot. I don't have any way to process them, so they're more valuable than melons. And I wanted to start melons for the gold melons and corn for gold corn. So I again ran out of time to plant everything. Surprise, surprise. I don't know if there's a way to do it where you run to Pierre's and come back to plant things in time, but I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's much more optimal ways to do this. But I just, I wanted to see if I could knock this out in kind of like one big sitting. If I can plow through 100 days at at 7 times the speed of Stardew and see how hard it got. And I think this is the last little bit of hardwood we need, and we will be in good shape for the community center. I don't think we have any hope of getting a horse, and I think we have almost no hope at all of going to Ginger Island, so hardwood won't be a very big goal of ours. And so yeah, we ended up on floor 22 for the mines. Not great, but it's forward progress at least. And we got all the wheat we needed for the animal bundle. So if we could just do 5 floors a day, we can definitely get, this is not a good example because we failed at 23. But if we can get 5 floors a day, we can definitely get to 80. Definitely get the mine carts, and maybe speed up our mines a little bit more for resource harvesting or farming, I guess. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm still like sort of optimistic at this point that things can change, but man, some of these days like this where we barely make 5 are really rough. And then so we started upgrading our copper pickaxe, and that's all we did for those days. We didn't do literally anything else. Just watering and the like, so. But so yeah, so you'll see here I just grabbed the 1 melon because I knew out of that whole bunch that was the only gold melon. And then we have our first major harvest of blueberries, which we don't really need to sell yet because I don't want to have a lot of extra cash in my pockets. And I make that mistake a few times, and it's a pretty expensive mistake. We did at least reach level 5 in farming, so our crops are worth a little bit more, but we're still manually watering everything, so sprinklers are a very, very big goal right now. And we also managed to get the last of our melons today. And we're all in good shape. We got 5 gold star melons, a regular melon to go drop off at the community center, as well as some other little random stuff, like the sunflower for the dye bundle, and just a couple other random stuff. But the summer crops bundle gives you a quality sprinkler, which is really massive for us, because that saves not a ton of time, but enough time that it totally feels worth it. So right now, like, I'm still confident we can complete the bundle we're in now, the crafts room. I'm confident in the pantry. The fish tank is becoming more and more of a dream, I think, because we just have not had the time to get fish. And I think had I done things a little bit differently in spring, we'd be a little further along with the fish tank. But I just sort of favored the mines over fishing, which I don't know if that was a great idea. And yeah, so we got a little bit of rain. Lightning, it turns out with lightning, if you speed up time, the screen just flashes nonstop. And that is a bit jarring in the summertime. So luckily we didn't have a ton of stormy days because they were pretty brutal, but yeah, it wasn't so bad. And we do have like a pretty fat amount of money right now, so we might unlock a bit of stuff in the vault and just buy, sell some stuff and then unlock some bundles in the vault just so we don't lose a ton of money next time we die, because we will, or not die, sorry, pass out. And we will be passing out pretty soon, as usual. And the quality fertilizer, it's not going to be the most helpful thing for us on this run. It will help us get pumpkins a little bit faster, but speed grow would be really what we want. And yeah, 47 through 49, like these days, we just watered. There was nothing else really. A little bit of tree chopping on most days. You can pretty much assume any day I do just watering, I probably also chop a lot of trees down. And we did decide on the 51st day I was going to sneak into the secret woods via the chair glitch just so I can grab one of these ferns, because that was the only way to get one. And I should have probably fished up a wood skip, but we didn't, so another fish off the list that we're just not going to get. It's looking more and more like the community center may stay in disrepair for another year. And then we also finally decided to bite the bullet and just buy a bunch of iron so we can make more sprinklers. And then now we can actually make, hopefully, some real progress in the mines, assuming everything is set up to be watered automatically. And we can only really make, I think, 4 or 5 sprinklers total, so we won't be able to have as big of a crop, but we will need to be diving into the mines a lot more aggressively. The other thing I actually totally forgot about was animals. Like, I forgot I have to have animals. And that is a real rough thing, because that's expensive. Most of the animals you need, I think you need a deluxe barn and a deluxe coop. Maybe just one of each. So that's going to be really expensive. That's like another 40 grand, I think, right there. Just to do a coop and then a deluxe coop, or a big coop, barn, big barn, deluxe barn. So we're looking at a pretty good chunk of change, not to mention the cost of the animals. So I hope that works out. Plus, I'm using a mod on this particular run where the animals are just incredibly cute. It's Elle's Coop and Elle's barn animals, and they're the greatest looking things in the world. I absolutely love them. The goat is like the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I do really want to get animals, but I just totally spaced it until now. And because I usually rely on the traveling cart pretty heavily for some of the animal items, and we might do that now. We just haven't had the time to check the traveling cart at all. But this is our first time checking our cave, I think. And we got some pretty good stuff out of that. We got a little bit closer to our artisan bundle. And I think we're just about finished up with the crafts room, aside from obviously the winter stuff. and then we failed at floor 39. So that kind of hurts because those dark floors are so brutal. But it's just the way it is. I really need to embrace stone in staircases. Like, I should really be buying stone from Robin like crazy and just staring down as much as possible. I think that would have saved me so much of a headache, because there are a lot of times when I miss floor like 45 by one level and then just pass out. It's it's rough. So I don't know. So we got another community center run. Just gonna wrap up crafts room, get a little bit closer with our our artisan bundle. I think only need an apple, which is kind of nice. That's a pretty easy item to get. Had we planted a tree, it would have been even easier, but we are still relying on our luck from that fruit bat cave, which so far has been pretty solid. I still think fruit bat, like, you should always use the fruit bat cave if you're going for the community center. If you're going Joja, that's fine. Do whatever. But CC, I think it's the best. And I will never change my opinion on that. I know some people have like really intense opinions when it comes to the caves, but you also get like foraging XP from the bat cave, which is really good. Anyway, that's not important. We do have some tappers going and a smaller crop of cranberries just because of the sprinkler situation. But again, it allows us to go into the mines a little more often. And now we can finish off, I think, the exotic forage bundle and get a little bit closer with the bulletin board. But that bulletin board, ooh, voice crack. That bulletin board is not looking great. So I'm not sure where we're sitting with that. I don't think we're gonna get a red cabbage, which is always like the bane of my existence on 1 year runs. And I don't think we'll be able to get, let's see what else. Oh, some of the cooking stuff, because we have to upgrade our house. And that's an expense that I don't think we can handle. We got level 7 farming, but that offers, I would say, next to no benefits for us right now. And so we'll grow a couple pumpkins. We're sort of in a mad dash at this point to start building stuff on our farm pretty soon and then get 25k for that vault bundle. The vault bundle isn't really like too pressing, I wouldn't say, because like I said, I don't think we can go to the caverns and we'll never reach floor 120 at this rate. So we'll start with our coop. That way we can at least get some chickens rolling in. And hopefully before the end of the year, we'll have like large eggs from our chickens. And yeah, here we are just clearing again. We clear the farm, like I said, pretty often. Some days are all clearing if our luck is bad, but most days we're doing more interesting stuff. Yeah, it turns out that when the time goes by really fast, Stardew Valley gets a lot harder. So this is our first day we've checked the traveling cart, and we got super lucky with a large egg, as well as, I guess jelly would have been kind of nice. And then we also got a pufferfish and a sandfish. So that actually kind of puts us back in a better spot when it comes to completing the fish tank, because now we don't have to worry about going to the desert at all. So I bought those thinking like maybe this restores a little bit of hope in actually completing the whole community center. And so that kind of brightened my spirits a little bit. And I sort of wish I would have been checking the cart a little more often, because I have a feeling I passed by a lot of things that would have saved me a lot of money. For example, if there was like wool anywhere on those carts at all, it would save me like 12 grand or something crazy like that. Or more, probably like 15,000, because I wouldn't have to upgrade the barn, I wouldn't have to buy a sheep, I wouldn't have to upgrade a coop, and I wouldn't have to buy a rabbit or one of those options. So Either way, we're going to move our coop over a little bit and we're going to put in a barn. And that way, as soon as that's finished up, we can get a couple dairy cows. That will, or just one dairy cow, I guess. And that will join our single brown chicken. So we're still making, like, I would say decent enough money. I went to Marnie's to buy a cow, but of course it's the 18th, which is her birthday, and also the day that she goes to a doctor's appointment. So it's the only day, aside from Monday and Tuesday, that you cannot buy animals. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but I had other errands to run, so it kind of worked out. But we're looking good, I think, as far as our community center still. And it's a little late in the run to be worried about it, but I am. Things just haven't been going as smoothly as I was anticipating, but it's still not bad. And we do have at least one keg now and one preserves jar, so we can start processing some of our stuff. Ideally pumpkins, but cranberries are good for now too. And so we got our chicken. Oh, I thought we already had it, but I guess not. So we got this little brown chicken. And I went ahead and just stocked up on hay now because I'm not going to be able to build a silo anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. And I also prematurely bought my milk pail and my shears. And there's a little chicken. You can kind of see it now. He's a little bit cuter than normal. But the cows are also super cute. They're like super stocky. You can't tell from right there because he's facing straight on. But they look almost like those, like when you blow dry a cow, which I don't know, like have you seen photos of a calf that's blow dried? They're super cute and they kind of look like that. So I'm very happy to have that mod. Now I guess I should mention the other mod I'm using for the recolor is Starblue Valley, it's called. And it's just like kind of a softer color palette, which makes the whole game look a little bit more relaxed in my opinion. But yeah, look at that cow. Look how cute that thing is. It's crazy. I love it. And even the chicken. Like the chicken kind of looks silly, but it's cute. And there's other customization options, but I just went with the most basic. And I decided to just do, so because I was able to buy that egg, no, maybe not. Well, I might have to upgrade both still. But I did decide to do a barn first because it takes a little longer for goats to get like mature enough to produce milk. And so I wanted to make sure I secured that. And we got level 8 farming, which means we can make kegs now. But I have not done a good job with tappers. Again, that's always my downfall. So I can't make any kegs at all. And so we can't process stuff still, aside from our lone jar and our lone keg. But we checked our little cave for the second time, and we actually got all of our apples in one go for the animal bundle. Or I guess we got 2 out of the 3, but I think we already had a third. So either way, we got a super good cave. I don't check it often. I usually check it like once every couple of weeks. So yeah, it ends up being pretty full by the time I actually get in there. And then we got a large milk and a duck egg. So I actually don't even need ducks anymore. And I don't even need that cow that I have. So I can actually sell it, which is kind of rude. But that's just the way things go. But look at that goat. It doesn't even look like a goat. It's so cute. But I do need him, and I need to make sure I like pretty diligently pet him every day. And yeah, so I got the golden pumpkin also from the Halloween event because it's worth $5,000 and I really need the money right now because I'm getting pretty close to the point where I won't be making money anymore. Winter's going to be a very barren month for us. Aside from some forage and animal produce, we will make next to zero money. But I did sell my cow, which is kind of sad. But we just don't need him anymore. And we really need the cash. We need 25,000 more, and then we don't need any more gold. Once we have that 25,000, we're done with money, basically entirely. So we're getting down to the last 10 days or so, really. So we just need money. There's our last apple. It's just getting rough. We're not going to get fishing. That's just a fact at this point. But we at least got our large egg, which means we could sell our chicken. And we're still working on our goat milk. But some of that processed cranberry wine is at least making us a little bit of money. We only need to sell a couple more. And then we have the 25 grand. And we are headed to the community center to turn in, I guess, not everything, but the bulk of the last couple things we need. And we're still yet to really get deep in the mines. And that's all we need. Like, the minecarts are one of the last goals that I've realized, like, I don't know, it's the only last realistic goal that we can do in this run. Because it's just, we're not going to complete the community center, unfortunately. It's just there's no way. We still need goat milk, and that's still probably going to happen. Because our goat is pretty happy with us, and we still have 10 days, so I think we'll be okay. But we're not even to floor 80 in the mines. We're not even to 70, I don't think. So we have a bit of a rough road ahead for that. So we'll be hitting it hard. Luckily, we have no crops to deal with, so we can just wake up and go straight up to the mines. But at least we got the vault. So yeah, we're barely at 50. And that is not great. But if we can just pick up the pace a tiny, tiny bit, get some, maybe a little bit of extra stone, and just stare down, I think we can make it. And if not, we have one last trick we can try. And that is geodes. If we absolutely cannot make it to the bottom of the mines, we can at least open up geodes and hopefully get a fire quartz. We still have a couple geodes left over that I have not sold. And we have a decent weapon, finally, for the first time. And yeah, I failed again to reach any deeper. But yeah, if we can get a geode with a fire crystal in it, we'll be in pretty good shape. And then all we really need is, I think, a solar essence, which any one of those little ghosts can drop as we make our way down. And so if we can get those two things, we can afford to buy some gold ore, because we have like 3 grand with us. Oh, nope, I'm just going to spend it all. Well, we'll see. Maybe I have some gems laying around, because we can always buy the gold ore and try to make that happen. But that, again, that's like a last-ditch effort. It is the 96th day, and we failed to hit 70, though, so that effort is looking like our only plan. But we did at least finally get our large goat milk, which means we can say goodbye to our little cute goat. And with that money, we can actually afford 5 gold ore, and we can afford to open up all the geodes we have. And so we only have, 6 geodes? So with that, we might be able to make it. We won't finish the community center, but we can at least get pretty close. And had we just done a couple things a little bit differently, I think we could have finished off the fishing bundle. And if we had just checked that traveling cart a little bit more, we could have definitely finished off the Bolton bundle as well. So almost got there. I couldn't quite make it happen. But there's our fire quartz. There's our 5 gold ore. So we just got to run up top to the community center, throw down our furnace, and hopefully we can turn in all of those bundles before the end of the day. It doesn't really matter because we still have one more day to do this, but it's kind of nice to get it all done in one go. But it's just, this time. 1 second, it turns out, is not enough time to get a lot of things done in this game. Maybe Joja. You could probably do Joja. But I think you can do Joja almost without really trying too much at all. Sometimes it's not always the easiest. Like, I mean, it's a lot of money, but if you just plant a ton of crops every day and you're pretty much good. I think you're all right. Like, you just water your crops only. You can get Joja done probably by the end of fall. Almost guaranteed every time. It won't be the most exciting run, but I think you could do it. And now, yeah, just a long, long wait. And gold, I think, is 4 hours. So we kind of barely scraped by on that one, but finally got the minecarts. We finally have our greenhouse, and we're all done. That's about the best I could do with Stardew Valley 7 times faster. I do like watching the little Junimos rebuild stuff. That alone, I think, is worth doing Community Center over Joja Mart. Joja Mart is very, I don't know, a little depressing to do. I will be doing it soon in a perfection run I'm going to go for. I think it's possible to get perfection in 84 days. So I'm going to attempt that relatively soon, but anyway, here we are, 100 days later. Didn't quite make it, unfortunately. The bulletin board held us back, and so did the fish tank, but otherwise I think we did a pretty good job. We got a heart with Haley, because I accidentally gave her a gift on her birthday, so I guess that works out. Made about 130 grand, which isn't too terrible. And otherwise just kind of, I don't know, had a good time. Had a stressful time for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think I should do next. I always like doing these 100-day videos, and I'm currently doing a long play of a single year perfection run via the community center. So check it out if you like, and feel free to comment anything you'd like to see. Later.